What's going on, cat sitters? Got a bit of a different one today for you. Today we're going to be covering the surprise secret album release from Hayley Williams titled Ego? Bit of a blink and you missed it sort of situation going on here. If you didn't catch it, Hayley Williams surprise dropped 17 new tracks on her website, HayleyWilliams.net, only to remove them 48 hours later. And on top of all this, they're very exclusive tracks as well, seeing as the only way to access them was with a promo code included in her hair dye company's new hair product, Good Dye Young. Now, my original video idea that I thought would be pretty cool was walking you guys through this website, showing you the cool exclusives that you wouldn't find anywhere else and all the little secrets on that website. It's down now, I can't do that. The most I can show you is the background to the website was this cute dog, so that's worth something. I was able to also dig up some screenshots of what the website looked like when it was up. You see you have all these different MP3s that you could drag around, the Hayley Williams HW logo, a player for when you selected one of the MP3s to actually play the audio, and then this MISC folder in the top right, which I can't find any evidence of what was in there, but I did check it out and it was just a couple files, maybe a photo or two, nothing too major. Trying to access the website now, you get hit with this thanks for listening banner, which is a nice sentiment if you did in fact get a chance to listen. Luckily, I was one of a few who got to get my one listen in before the website went down, because my friend Rachel both put me onto the website's existence as well as provided the code to access, so thank you, Rachel. And we wouldn't be having this video without her right now because I didn't download the songs and she did, so everyone say thank you, Rachel, in the comments because you saved this whole video and made it exist in the first place. So the new conceit for the video here is I'm going to re-listen to the project track by track, giving you my thoughts on each one as we go along. Not necessarily an album review here, think of this video more as a time capsule of this weird period before this project is formally released in some capacity. So coming up first here we have track 1, Kill Me. Alright, cool track to open the album on, yeah, thoughts. I would say that we're immediately leaning into a pop rock direction, or at least that's the way I think this album's going to go. I don't remember a ton from my first listen, if we're being honest. Maybe with a bit of a 90s tinge throwback element, sort of with that sound in mind, but modernized in like an Olivia Rodrigo way. Yeah, and the lyrical topics here, Hayley Williams seems fed up, go ahead and kill me, find another soldier. She is not happy. I'm happy though to be getting into track 2 here, True Believer. Let's give it a listen. Okay, track 2, Hayley Williams, Anti-Capitalist, who would have thought? Wow, digging into the lyrical themes of that one immediately, a critique of materialism in modern day America I think would be my jumping point, but there seemed to be a little bit of hope on that chorus, still being a true believer as the title track implies that there could be change for the better, and man, what a chorus at that, that's a really catchy one. Okay, track 3, we got Blood Bros, interesting title, we'll give it a spin. Okay, track 3, we see the album slowing down a little bit, stripping back to an acoustic cut. Blood Bros, the Blood Bros in questions is talking about bonds. I think bonds stronger than blood specifically. Hayley sounds like she's longing on this track a little bit for something that used to be there that wasn't. Yeah, just a slower cut in general. We can see the pace of the album slowing down at this point. I'm thinking things might stay slow a bit based on the title here of track 4, Negative Self-Talk. Wow, track 4, very beautiful track. Immediately, the strings and the background of the production there stuck out to me as a haunting beauty. Really set the tone for this track. I'd also like to shout out those harmonies in the back there as well. Just set a very great atmosphere for Hayley to talk on this one. We have lyrical themes, very apt to the title of the track, self-doubt, that voice in your head telling you you're not good enough or just sort of weighing you down. Hayley talking about how she can take those negative thoughts and channel them into her music as an outlet. And there also seemed to be a little bit of a talk of maybe a breakup going on there, something to maybe pay attention to as we get into the themes of the next tracks moving forward here. Track 5, one hell of a title. I couldn't even fit it into my title card here. We got Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party. Cool. Alright, Hayley Williams, biggest star at the racist country singer's bar. Interesting way to open up your first verse on a song, specifically on the verses, I guess the chorus as well. I just really like the mixing of her vocals on this one. There's sort of a layered effect going on that's just very enchanting performance by Hayley. Not the biggest source of lyrical depth on this one, I think it's pretty on the nose. She's feeling high of herself, she comes crashing down, the chorus, I can only come up from here, a la an Ego Death. I'm not expecting every song on this album to be, the most lyrically, poetically dense thing I've ever heard. But yeah, it gets right to the point. Another great track. Alright, we're moving through them now. Track 6, we have Mirtazapine, which is that an antidepressant? That sounds like a medication. It's an antidepressant, I googled it. Track 6. Wow, I think that might be my favorite track so far. That was some impressive guitar playing. Those were some heavy riffs, man, compared to what else we've heard production-wise on this project. That one went for it, absolutely. It's also, lyrically, we're talking about the best ad I've ever heard for Mirtazapine. The whole song is basically just an ode to how great it feels not to be depressed, even if it is for a chemical dependency. Better than nothing, right? That brings us to track 7, which I love the title of. We got Ice in My OJ. Okay, I remember this one now. In a single word, chaotic. This is Hayley Williams just flexing on you, you know. The chorus is, I'm in a band, It doesn't get more simple than that. Beautiful writing, Hayley. Up next, we got a rhyme, track 8, Brotherly Hate. Let's get into it. Alright, a profoundly weird one. It sort of has the vibe of like a circus funhouse tent. Very off-kilter. Kind of reminds me of Power by Disco Shrine, if you know that song. And I also noticed another mention of a blood oath or blood bond in this track, so I don't know if that's going to be a theme for the rest of the album, that Hayley Williams is into blood arts, but I'm waiting with bated breath on if that is the case. Track 9, Zizou, let's give it a listen. Okay, I mean, it's track 9, we're in the middle of the album here. This one has deep cut energy. It's the one that maybe it grows on you, maybe it doesn't. Not a strong first impression, but you know, who knows, give it some repeat listens, that could change. Cool, track 10, Dream Girl in Shibuya. Let's, wow, what a beautiful title. Let's give this one a play. Okay, I think that's the most boy genius sounding thing I've ever heard. I mean that non-derogatory. Just the way that the song sounds like it's sort of a fall, autumn vibe, and you're on a beautiful vacation, and you're writing in a very overly descriptive, hyper-fixated way. I mean, that is textbook Phoebe Bridgers, you know. Interesting to slap it in here at this point in the track list. Yep, I mean, we could get right into this one. How could I forget this? Track 11, Discovery Channel, is, as described, just an interpolation of the Bloodhound Gang song, The Bad Touch. You know, let's do it like we do it on the Discovery Channel. Weird decision. I don't know why Hayley decided to do the entire chorus of that song for this song and just slap it in as track 11, but okay, you do you, girl. I got my eyes on you after that one, man. Track 12, Love Me Different. Okay, track 12, lot to unpack there. Immediately production-wise, sort of had a After Laughter feel to it, you know, where it's bubbly, brighter, happier. Although that chorus, those lyrics, they were not. I mean, that was a pretty scathing takedown of an ex by Hayley. You're gonna be looking for somebody who can love you the way I did. I'm looking for somebody who loves me different. I mean, oh, wow, what a way to put it. Yikes, yeesh. Is Hayley Williams, wasn't she dating someone from Paramore? Hold on a second. Ooh, okay, Hayley Williams has been dating Taylor York of Paramore, so if this is a breakup album for them, maybe that is a breakup album for Paramore. I'm not parasocial enough. I didn't know that. That changes the context of a lot of this listen. Wow, I'm just now finding that out. Very interesting if that's the case, if this album is Hayley Williams fully going solo at the end of Paramore. Oof, alright, well, let's move on. That brings us to track 13 here, Hard, where basically Hayley Williams is saying that her difficulties in her love life have hardened her up. The verses on this sound like textbook Billie Eilish. I don't know if anyone else listened to that and got this, but the sort of brooding delivery and just a murkier tone of it all is like 100% quintessential, like breakout bad guy era Billie Eilish to a T. Alright, starting to blast through this at this point. Track 14, Whim. This is Hayley Williams' take on a country song, I think. It's very folksy compared to everything else that's here. Not just the acoustic guitar, but also the delivery and the general lyrical themes, you know, of wanting to believe in love, but suffering from self-sabotage. Yeah, just straight up, I could hear this on like an alt-country radio station, so interesting detour to take. And that brings us to track 15, Glum, which I'm just now realizing, like, all the titles of these songs were very wordy, and now we just had 3 in a row where we had Hard, then Whim, then Glum. Just a stupid observation. I'm gonna get into the song now. Okay, wow, I mean, a tale of 2 songs on that one. I don't know how I didn't know this on my one listen before this, but the first half of that song wasn't a big fan of, if we're being honest. I didn't love the nasally voice filter that was on Hayley's voice, but as soon as that lifted, I found the track to be very enjoyable. Just didn't agree with the first verse or 2 there. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I guess what you're gonna do is move on to track 16. Coming up here, we got Disappearing Man. Let's give it a listen. Wow, that is like a knockout punch this late into the track list. That was fantastic. Really interesting vocal chop to start that then parlays into like another folksy or rootsy song, but lyrically, that's got to be the focus here. I mean, that's another takedown. Saying you could have had anyone, you had me, why'd you let go, into you could have had anyone except for me, calling her ex a disappearing man. I mean, that is just, it is textbook. This is perfect breakup song. No notes on this one. She knocked it out of the park. And call that some good sequencing, because now I must be the disappearing man, as this is our last track together as we get into track 17, I Won't Quit on You. Cool. All right. That's a good place to end the album off on, I think, gathering my thoughts. Again, we're in that presentation of that sort of boy genius lane of sound and songwriting, but the whole theme of I Won't Quit on You, I think it's questionable if she's writing to her ex or her fans, but there's some solace in that phrase. I think it's meant to be hopeful that, reading in the undertones, maybe she's saying, I won't quit on this band, you know? I still believe in the band, I still believe in us. Maybe she's talking about her relationship between her and her fans, or her and her ex, who is presumably a member of Paramore, is who this album's written about. But overall, I'm just taking this to be like a reassurance from Hayley that, like, the music will go on. Don't worry, I will continue to persist, maybe in solo releases like this, or maybe together with my band Paramore. We'll work through this breakup, I don't know. But yeah, I think that was actually a very good way of just succinctly packaging all of that, parasocial blah 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 in the background into one closing outro track. So closing thoughts on going through that whole album experience, as well as the rollout for this website, I think it's a very interesting way to do this release. A good way of generating buzz, sort of word of mouth. The secret drop is a cool technique, and especially in this given situation where it's a little bit questionable what Hayley Williams' musical future will be like. I just think this was a good way of her getting the eyes on her specifically if she wants to go that route and Paramore is no more. Or also, if Paramore is to continue, I think it's good. It's like a Beyonce, Jay-Z, Lemonade sort of situation where she's stirring the pot a little, she's riling people up, it's fun to do. And in terms of quality of the album, I really did enjoy the sit-down for the most part. I mentioned one or two moments where maybe a track didn't quite sit right with me or just didn't hit in the correct way, but more often than not, I found this to be a very strong and varied release from Hayley. Obviously, one hell of a vocal performer. I mean, her voice is just angelic, it's beautiful. But the variety she introduced in a couple different lanes of writing, we saw pop rock, alt pop, pop, even a little bit of folk or alt country, if you want to throw that in there, was just a good way to keep the listener interested while all still sort of sounding cohesive enough or close enough together genre-wise as not to be jarring or abrupt. So definitely some standout tracks. I liked some of the heavier moments, I think, than the slower moments, but overall, I really don't have any strong complaints to lobby against this thing 2 listens in, so that's a good sign of a quality release. With that, I think we're going to call the video there. Let me know if you like this format of video. It's not necessarily an album review, it's a bit of a ramble, if anything. Sort of a half reaction, half topical zeitgeist review of what's going on in the current pop climate. Is that something you're interested in? Like more music news? Do you prefer the album reviews? Do you prefer the shorter album reviews? Would you like if they were longer and less to the point, maybe more drawn out about my specific thoughts and less of a general overview? I don't know, I'm just talking into a mic rambling to myself. That's really all I got to say. I got some chana masala in the fridge that's been calling my name for like an hour. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go, so like, subscribe, whatever if you like the video. Drop a comment letting me know if you think it's a good format. And with that, I'll catch you on the next one, whoever that is. Take care. Bye.